Hello everyone, today is the 25th of November. Let's spend a little bit of time together looking back and looking forward. First, let's look way back to the time of Samuel in the Bible. Israel felt vulnerable and insecure and left out because everybody else had a king and it did not. Israel felt a king would do a better job of defending the country than the ragtag war bands it relied on. So the people put in a request for a monarch to Samuel. He wasn't best pleased. Neither indeed was God. God felt God was the only king Israel really ever needed. Samuel told the people what a king would be like. It wasn't pretty. He would be a grabber and a taker. So Samuel warned that a king would take people's sons to serve in the military and run in front of the king's chariots. The king would take their daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. Any children left over would be put to work in the king's defense industries, making weapons of war and equipment for chariots, or on his land as agricultural laborers. To get the land, the king would grab the best of the people's fields and vineyards and olive groves to share with his cronies to keep them sweet and on side. Then the king would tax ordinary people on whatever they produced: grain, wine, donkeys, sheep, anything else he could get his royal hands on. Eventually, according to Samuel, the people would become no better than slaves. And that's pretty much how the Bible's dim view of kingship came to pass. Virtually every king is remembered in a deeply negative way. But there were just a few who were different, who were good. David was the standout. On account of him, the hope grew that one day the best of all kings would come to put everything right. This hope suffered centuries of setback, letdown and disappointment, but could never quite be extinguished. Then, when the time was right, Jesus was born from the house and the line of David. In the lived experience of those who encountered him, and in the conviction of the early church, he was the long-expected one. But he was a very different kind of king. He redefined kingship. Last Sunday, we focused on how. Instead of taking, he gave. He gave healing. He gave hope. He gave new beginnings. In the end, he gave his own life. Instead of seeking to be served, he served others in pop-up meals in the wilderness, in embracing outcasts, in welcoming prodigals home, in washing tired feet, ultimately in serving God's purposes by defeating death. As his followers, Jesus calls us to be servers and givers too. Not many of you, I suspect, will know the name John Harper. He was a Baptist minister. He was traveling on the Titanic. When the ship started to go down, he was offered a place in a lifeboat along with his daughter. He refused. He wanted to help those still on the boat. Later, he was given a life jacket. He gave it away to a fellow passenger because he felt his need was greater. According to survivors, even in the water, as his life slipped away, he carried on trying to bring hope. It's a powerful story. In its way, it illustrates that in following Jesus, the heart of our faith is self-giving love. Now, we may never be placed in a position anything remotely like that of John Harper, but in the difficult times we are going through, we can play our part in giving and in serving. We can give to Gift Sunday so that children in need are touched by the Christmas story. We can serve the poor by filling one of the Christmas hampers or making a donation to have one of them filled for us. We can reach out a helping hand in our own town by supporting J29. Looking forward now, on Sunday we begin our Advent journey this year, a journey that brings us again to Bethlehem and to the wonderful, awed celebration of God's great gift to us, the mystery and the magic and the redefined meaning of kingship that is found in the baby Jesus. As we take the first step of our journey, we celebrate communion. Have your elements, your bread and wine, ready before worship begins. I know we are unable to be together and that our service will be very different. But it will be a sign and a signal and a deep reminder that in Jesus and by the activity of the Spirit, God is still with us as the servant King. And God calls us to give and to serve others as we follow Jesus. Bye for now. God bless. For everything that it means, I really look forward to worshiping with you on Sunday.